Have you ever looked at the world and wondered who exactly decided that things should work this way? Why some countries have kings, some have presidents, some have generals in charge, and a few seem to have absolutely nobody steering the ship at all. It turns out that every society from ancient tribes to modern nations has asked the same question. How do we organize millions of people without everything falling apart? And the answers humans came up with are wildly different. Some put all their trust in one family. Some give power to religious figures. Some hand it to the wealthy. Some hand it to everyone. And some insist nobody should have power at all. So today we're going to take a calm, simple walk through every major type of government that humans have invented. No complicated jargon, no political arguments, just clear visual explanations of how these systems work and why they exist. By the end, you'll be able to explain monarchy, oligarchy, theocracy, democracy, technocracy, and more as easily as explaining how to boil an egg. So get comfortable, grab a drink, and let's start from the very beginning, at the point where there's no government at all. Imagine waking up tomorrow and discovering that your entire country no longer has a government. No leaders, no police, no taxes, no laws, nothing. Would life suddenly become a paradise of freedom, or would it collapse into chaos within minutes? That's the question people have tried to answer for thousands of years. And depending on how you answer it, you end up with completely different types of government. Today, we're going to explore every major system humans have ever invented to run a society, from the total freedom of anarchy to the rule by experts of technocracy. And we'll do it in a way that actually makes sense, like explaining a huge topic with crayons. So let's jump into it. Governments exist to answer three simple questions. Who gets to make decisions? How is power shared? And what role do the people play? Everything you're about to hear is just a different way to answer those three questions. Let's begin at the very start, at 0 on the scale. Anarchy. Anarchy is what you get when the answer to who's in charge is nobody. No leaders, no rulers, no formal laws. Just people living alongside each other, figuring things out as they go. Some people imagine anarchy as the ultimate freedom. No taxes, no bureaucracy, no irritating officials. Everyone does what they want. Others imagine it as pure chaos, like putting 100 drivers on the same road, but removing all the traffic lights. Some people would politely take turns. Others would crash in 5 seconds. In practice, anarchy rarely lasts for long, because humans naturally start forming groups' rules and leaders the moment things get complicated. Even pirates had codes of conduct. Even online gaming servers end up with moderators. Humans just can't help themselves. So anarchy is the absence of a government. Let's move to the simplest kind of government you can have one person in charge. Monarchy. Monarchy is when a single individual holds power, a king, a queen, an emperor. And the job usually gets passed down through family lines. If your parents are royalty, congratulations, you're probably going to be royalty too. The idea is simple, the same family rules for generations, so things stay stable. No elections, no debates, just one clear ruler. There are two major flavors. Absolute monarchy is like giving the ruler the entire cheat code menu. They make the laws. They enforce the laws. They can sign anything they want. Their word becomes reality. But most monarchies today are constitutional monarchies, where the king or queen is more like a national mascot. They symbolize tradition, but don't actually run the country. Real decisions are made by elected officials. Monarchy answers the question, who's in charge with the family that's been in charge for a very, very long time? But what if instead of one ruler, a small group takes control? Aristocracy. Aristocracy literally means rule by the best. But historically, the best usually meant the people born into the right families. Imagine a society where certain families are considered more important, more noble, or more sophisticated. They control land culture and politics. That's an aristocracy. It's like a company where only the oldest families of shareholders get to decide everything, regardless of whether they are good at it or not. Aristocracies believe that people raised with education, wealth, and tradition are naturally better rulers. Whether that's true is another story. But what happens if you take away the noble families part and just leave it as a small group runs everything? Then you get an oligarchy. Oligarchy. Oligarchy means rule by a small group of powerful people. Not nobles, not royals. Just the people who have the most influence. Usually the very wealthy military leaders or giant business elites. Instead of one king, you get several mini-kings. One group controls the media. Another controls the money. Another controls the military. Together, they control the entire country. People often say every country has a little bit of oligarchy in it, because in any system, there will always be a small number of people with outsized influence. But oligarchy becomes a true form of government when those powerful groups officially run the show. Still, both aristocracy and oligarchy limit power to a tiny group. What if power comes from somewhere else entirely, like the divine? Theocracy. Theocracy answers the question, who's in charge with whoever speaks for God? Religious leaders hold political power. Laws are based on religious texts. Authority comes from faith, not from voters or wealthy elites. In a theocracy, the highest legal authority might be a priest, an imam, a monk, or a group of religious scholars. The idea is that if humans are flawed, then we should follow divine guidance instead. The problem, of course, is who gets to decide what the divine message is? And that answer is usually whoever holds religious authority. But if power isn't divine and it isn't inherited and it isn't controlled by the wealthy, what if the people themselves control the government? Democracy. Democracy is one of the most influential ideas in the modern world. It means power comes from the people, not from bloodlines, wealth, or divine status. But there are two main versions. Direct democracy is when citizens vote directly on every issue. You don't choose someone to make decisions for you, you make all the decisions yourself. This works great for small groups like a town hall or a village. But imagine if 80 million people had to vote every time the government wanted to change the tax rate. It would be chaos. That's why most modern democracies are representative democracies. Here, the people elect leaders to vote on their behalf. The idea is simple. You hire someone whose job is to understand the issues and make decisions for the common good. If they do a bad job, you replace them at the next election. Democracy tries to split power between different branches, like the executive, the legislative, and the judiciary, so no single person gets too powerful. When it works, democracy can be incredibly stable and fair. When it doesn't, well, you've seen the internet. People can argue forever. But democracy still assumes politicians, not experts, make the decisions. What if we reverse that? What if the people running each part of society are the people who actually understand it? Technocracy. Technocracy is rule by experts. Imagine a country where the Minister of Health must be a top doctor. The Minister of Finance must be a world-class economist. The Minister of Energy must be an engineer who actually understands power grids. In a technocracy, expertise replaces political popularity. The idea is that modern societies are too complex for traditional politicians. You wouldn't let someone who's never studied medicine run a hospital. So why let someone who has never studied economics control the entire economy? Technocrats don't necessarily get elected. They're chosen based on skill, knowledge, and experience. The advantage is obvious decisions become more scientific, more rational, and less emotional. The disadvantage is also obvious. It might become less democratic, less human, and more disconnected from everyday people. It's the classic tension between expertise and representation. Technocracy is one of the most debated ideas today because modern problems, climate change, pandemics, AI regulation, require deep technical understanding. But people still want a say in how their country is run. So far, we've looked at systems where power is arranged by tradition, religion, expertise, or the people themselves. But we're missing something big, the systems where power is taken, not given. Dictatorship and autocracy. A dictatorship is when one person takes nearly all political power. No meaningful elections. No checks and balances. No real opposition. An autocrat can make laws instantly silence critics and stay in power for as long as they want. Sometimes for life. Dictatorships often claim to be temporary emergencies. The leader promises stability or unity. But once someone controls all the levers of power, it's rare for them to give it back. Some dictatorships are ideological, others are personal. All of them centralize power into the hands of one individual who answers to no one. And if that individual controls the military, then we reach another type of government entirely: military rule. Military rule, or a junta, is when the armed forces take control of the state. Here, the soldiers are the policymakers. Generals issue political orders. The Constitution is often suspended. The military justifies its rule by claiming to protect the nation from chaos, corruption, or foreign threats. If democracy is ruled by the people, and monarchy is ruled by one family, then military rule is ruled by whoever has the most firepower. It's one of the most common emergency forms of government in history. Armies step in when they believe the civilian government is failing. But once they take control, stepping out again is a different story. The grand comparison. Let's zoom out. Every system we've described lives on a spectrum from total freedom to total control, from complete decentralization to absolute concentration of power. Anarchy has no rulers at all. Monarchy, aristocracy, and oligarchy concentrate power in elites. Theocracy moves power to religious authority. Democracy spreads power across the population. Technocracy moves power to experts. Dictatorship and military rule concentrate everything back into one person or one group. If we visualize it, it's not a straight line, it's a circle. Or maybe a big messy web. Because societies constantly shift between these systems. But here's the twist: no country follows just one model. Real governments are hybrids. A democracy with strong expert influence becomes part technocracy. A monarchy with elections becomes part parliamentary democracy. A dictatorship that uses religious justification becomes part theocracy. Most governments are mixtures blending ideas from different systems to fit their history, culture, and problems. It's like cooking. No nation uses one ingredient. Everyone mixes, adapts, and evolves. The future. So, which system is best? There isn't a single answer. Each model solves some problems and creates new ones. Anarchy maximizes freedom, but risks collapse. Monarchy creates stability, but limits choice. Aristocracy preserves tradition, but can trap power. Oligarchy gets things done fast, but benefits only the few. Theocracy offers unity, but restricts diversity. Democracy gives everyone a voice, but can become slow and messy. Technocracy uses reason and science, but might leave the public behind. Dictatorship provides order, but at an enormous cost. Military rule enforces discipline, but not necessarily justice. Every government is a trade-off. But the real challenge for the future is this: the world is getting more complicated. Technology is moving faster than politics. And global problems, pandemics, climate change, artificial intelligence don't respect borders. Some people believe this means we need more experts in power. Others believe we need more democracy, not less. And some think power should be decentralized entirely. The truth is, we don't know yet. Because humanity is still experimenting. For thousands of years, we've been trying to answer the same question. How do you organize millions of people so that life is safe, fair, and free? Every system in this video is one of our attempts. Some succeeded, some failed. All of them teach us something. So here's the final question for you. If you had to design a new government from scratch, not copying any existing country, which system would you choose? A democracy guided by experts, a technocracy with citizen oversight, a decentralized self-governing network. Something entirely new. Tell me in the comments, because the future of government might be built by people like you. If you've made it this far, you now understand something that many people never think about. There's no single right way to run a society. Every system has strengths. Every system has flaws. And every country is just trying to mix ingredients in a way that keeps life stable, safe, and fair. But the world is changing faster than ever. Technology is rewriting how we communicate, how we work, how we think, and even how we govern. And the systems humans invented thousands of years ago are being tested in ways their creators could never have imagined. So here's the thought I want to leave you with. If you had the power to design a brand new government, no traditions, no history, no baggage, what would it look like? Would it be more democratic, more expert-driven, more decentralized, or something entirely new that has never existed before? Let me know in the comments. I read everything, and your idea might end up inspiring a future video. If you enjoyed this explanation, consider subscribing for more simple visual breakdowns of big topics. Thanks for watching Stay Curious, and I'll see you in the next one.